Welcome back to me trying to do my face. Today I am going to tell you about somebody who I just learned about. I have ADHD, so if I get some of the bits wrong, I apologize in advance. I'm just so excited to share her with you. Allow me to tell you about the Lioness of Brittany. I still have this stuff left, so I'm just going to try and make it work. So, Jeanne de Clisson, she is, in case you couldn't tell by the title, she happens to be kind of French. She is born a noblewoman. She gets married when she is 12 years old, and she has her first son when she is 14, and then she has her first daughter when she is 16. Somebody actually got back to me on my TikTok and was like, no, you don't use a wedge for the first bit, you're supposed to use a flat sponge. So I am going ahead and hoping that piece of info, that piece of intel pays off. So her first husband, Geoffrey, he dies when she's about 26, I believe, and her children are still underage, they're still very young, and so she decides to get married again so that she can ensure some kind of inheritance for them. This is already proving much less of a stress. I wish I'd known it the other day, but thank you. That was obviously very good advice. Her second husband, Guy, there were other people who also had a vested interest in all of his stuff. So a complaint against their marriage was lodged, and long story short, the Pope investigates because there's nothing like blowing things all out of proportion, but the Pope investigates and her second marriage gets annulled. Third time lucky, Jeanne meets a young nobleman by the name of Olivier, and they like each other so much that they have their first daughter born out of wedlock, but they go on to marry, so slightly less of a scandal. Okay, so I've got the main thing of foundation on. That was actually quite pain-free, but now I've got spots. So what do? More foundation or concealer? Confusion. Well, I say spots. I've got like one pesky one there and then a vague outline above my eyebrow and nowhere else. No spots throughout my teens, and then all of a sudden, late 20s, every time it comes to girly time. Great. Over I think it's something like 15 years, the couple have 5 kids together. It's just so cute. This couple were a very lucky medieval couple in that they were genuinely nuts about each other. Talk about putting concealer on and then don't put concealer on. Now, Jeanne's husband, Olivier, was a military commander. And this is all going on, I believe, during the time of the 100 Years' War. So in 1342... Go away, will you? So in 1342... I will tell you what happened in 1342 in a minute. So in 1342, there was an attack by the English, us again, against the French city of Vannes. Vannes, V-A-N-N-E-S. Oh, forgot my neck. So the English capture the city of Vannes in 1342. They'd been trying a number of times and finally they succeed and they capture Olivier. However, Olivier is summarily released. He's actually on a kind of prisoner exchange type of thing. Yep, they were doing that all the way back then. Apparently, how much was actually being asked in return was a suspiciously low amount. And whispers started to come out that actually maybe Olivier hadn't really defended the city as well as he could have. In fact, Charles de Blois, I can never say that, Charles de Blois, B-L-O-I-S. Please, somebody French help me. Charles de Blois basically alleges that Olivier must be a traitor. The following year, Olivier is invited to a tournament. Now, there's been a truce, so he thinks that all is well. But he goes along, and no sooner does he get there than he is arrested. That same year, he is put on trial as a traitor. He is found guilty, and he is executed by beheading that August. We're back to my strange little light thing Meh. So there was a bit of a backlash because Olivier was a nobleman and he had been executed publicly, but the evidence that said that he was a traitor was not actually very much publicized. So Olivier's head is put on display at the Savetou gate. And Jeanne, I don't think it was the best move on her part as a mom. But then they had different ideals as to what was okay and not okay back in the Middle Ages. And she takes her son along to see her husband's head. She takes 2 of her sons along. Standing there outside the gate, looking at her beloved dead husband's head, she swears revenge on Charles de Blois and also the French king, Philip VI. She goes home, she sells a load of stuff she doesn't need, mostly her estates. She raises a small army and she starts attacking French castles. There's this one really cool story where basically she shows up at one place where the warden looks down and she's calling up to be admitted into the castle, and he recognizes her as Olivier's wife. So he calls back that they need to raise the gates. And as soon as this happens, Jeanne's men jump out of the surrounding forestry, they sack the entire castle, and they leave only 1 man alive. And this is something that she did on a number of occasions. She got everybody. She slaughtered them all, and she would only ever leave 1 man alive in order to tell other people what had happened and who had done this. I should have put moisturizer on first, but we're doing okay considering, I think. It looks much more smoother than the other day where it was literally like dumping glue on my face. Not being satisfied with just stuffing up the French forces on land, she decides to take to the sea, and yes, Jeanne de Clisson became a pirate. This is already so much better. The difference was a sponge. These warships were painted black along their bows, and the flags were like blood red. They sound awesome. Jeanne called her own ship, the one that she was on, the flagship, My Revenge. I mean, I know I'm setting the bar pretty high for some of us now, because some guys are going to be out there questioning whether their femmes would go to war for them. You know what? If you deserve such a woman, then you must be a hell of a guy. So just work on just being a hell of a guy. That's fine. You can work out the rest later. Jeanne spends the next 13 years basically patrolling the English Channel. She spends those years basically attacking any damn French ship that she sees. If it's French and it's in her crosshairs, you, mate, are going to the bottom of the English Channel. Bye-bye, nice knowing you. And she carries on, of course, doing her whole killing everybody that she can find, bar 1 or 2, just to make sure that the story spreads. And it spreads so much that she earns the nickname of the Lioness of Brittany. There were even naval and coastal towns that she would sack, that she would put to the sword, that she would set fire to. She did not give a crap. She was mad as hell. And she was making sure that it was felt. I mean, if ever there was a woman for whom the phrase "hell hath no fury like a femme scorned" was for, it was definitely for Jeanne de Clisson. I'm not doing falsies today because literally I can achieve the same effect with my mascara, and also it just feels really weird after a moment or 2. I'm like, I've got stuff stuck to my eyelids. I've never got that about femme beauty. It's all about you've got to stick things to you. You've got to make sure that this thing is in the right place. And I'm like, look, guys, I can almost get my head around the fact that I've got different coloured dirt clinging to my face, but actually sticking little like mini caterpillar like things to the front of my face. I'm sorry guys, but we're just heading into the really, really unnecessarily weird zone there. Like, this isn't even hearsay. It's not even been blown up out of proportion. That's the thing that I love about it. There is evidence, you know, of the seizing of her lands, of the English king giving her these warships. It's brilliant. This woman, oh my god, I want to be her when I grow up. Except without the losing my husband by beheading. That would not be nice, I don't think. Well, not if I loved him anyway. Right, I'm going to learn this thing you do with the nose, I swear, because the nose thing that I keep seeing is so confusing, but I swear I'm going to get it. You have to make it sort of like longer and thinner to be more femme, and then you put like a blob of what looks like sunscreen on the end of your nose. I have no idea, but here goes nothing. Well, that looks fracking ridiculous. Now I look like Cyrano de Bergerac. Am I putting the white too high, too low? What is that? You're supposed to make it look almost like it turns up, like a little, I don't know, slide or a ski bump type thing. Maybe my nose was just not meant for such things. My very British nose. Well, it's Welsh, really. I'm pretty sure that I get it from my maternal granddad. I can always tell if somebody is a close Welsh Williams by their nose. If it looks slightly more like mine, then they're close to their Welsh ancestry. If they have like a normal American or, you know, nice straight European nose, I'm like, you ain't that Welsh, honey. And then poor Jeanne, disaster strikes, and her flagship, My Revenge, gets sunk. They are adrift for about 5 days, and Jeanne's youngest son, Guillaume, I think he was called, he dies of exposure while they're out there. Because, I mean, come on, if you've been on the English Channel, I literally live just outside the English Channel. It is fracking cold. And you're actually going to be on the sea for like 5 days? I guess, you know, she didn't know where she could go in England and not just be a French woman, because we were still during that 100 Years' War thing that would have not created a very good feeling towards this random Frenchie that shows up on the shore. And of course, she's been terrorizing the French for so long that they're going to hear about the Lioness of Brittany. She could have been lynched, but, you know, what choice did she have? So she and her other son, Olivier, they just continue to drift, but they are rescued after 5 days. So she's taken to Morlaix to be with her Montfort supporters. Now, apparently, while she was there, she's obviously still mad as hell. She's just lost her son as well. But she meets a gentleman by the name of Walter Bentley. Okay, full disclosure, I still don't know crap about lipstick. What? Brown? So Walter Bentley is, he's a deputy, he's a military deputy of Edward III. Is that even coming out? What is that? Can anyone see that? Looks like I'm not putting anything on. What the hell? It's just making my lips ever so slightly more orange. I've got enough orange, I mean my hair. Anyway, no real ideas what exactly happened between the two, but obviously they met. Walter and Jeanne end up getting married. He's something of a big deal. He's got lands, he's got titles, I'm sure he's got a castle or 3. From then, Jeanne settles down. Maybe, you know, he was able to convince her that she'd spent all this time taking revenge for what had somewhat unjustly happened to her beloved husband, but maybe when she realized that it was possible for her to be happy again, she was able to let the past rest. But yeah, from 1343 until her 4th marriage in 1356, this woman was a pirate, and she killed people. Basically, she was amazing. After hearing this story, if anybody dares to tell you that femmes don't hold grudges like men, that they can't control armies and actually get full-on vengeance like men, you tell them to go boil their head and tell them it was Jeanne de Clisson that sent them there. Don't really. My name is Lexi Wolf. And if they actually do that, renounce the fact that you ever said that and forget my name. Jeanne lived for another couple of years after that, and she dies apparently very happy, surrounded by her new lands and titles, with her allies, and her kids went on to do some pretty cool things, to marry some amazing people, and one of them became known as the Butcher, but that's another story. That's not today. But that was Mama Lioness teaching little Butcher how to be, I suppose. This was so much less stress than the other day, and I'm pretty happy with the results. I still think I could do a little bit more, so I'm going to carry on until I've got it. I'm going to do what we do in the theatre, and I'm not going to do it until I get it right. I'm going to carry on doing it until I can't get it wrong, and I do have a bit of this to be carrying on with for the meantime. I think I literally got it from Poundland or something. So. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to me ramble on today. I hope that you too are completely inspired and in love with Jeanne de Clisson, because she sounds kick-ass. Take care. Was there anything else? Probably. I've forgotten it. ADHD.